Hi, and welcome everyone. This is Lavender Sky Panther. Today is Monday, December 13th, 2021, and the topic is highs and lows. It's a collection of images and sky observations happening December 9th through the 12th, 2021, and this is show number 137. Here's also an alternate cover slide with a slightly different flavor. I was going to launch this on Wednesday. Something possessed me to get this done and get it out today. So you're going to hear I'm not going to be the sharpest tool in the shed, so to speak, nor the brightest color in the box, but I'm going to try. Once again, it was up far too late getting this done. But again, something said, propelled me to get this done now. Anyway, before we get into the sky observations today, I'd like to say good day, osio, how, buongiorno, guten tag, kia ora, jambo, kedu, buenos dias, bonjour, ni hao, tien dobre, konnichiwa, dobrohonya, annyeonghaseyo, botaji, dobry den, aloha winala, kalimera, udenda, and good day. Now the message is simple, clear and simple today for my little words, wisdom, and spirit of the day. And it's simply keep shining smiles, love, and hugs out there into the world. And I don't care what your decision was on what's going on in the world or what it is or what you're doing. I really don't. Now is the time to simply forget everything that you've been listening to, whatever it is, and simply just come together and from the heart space wish everybody well, regardless of who they are, where they are, or where they are or where they aren't. And that means just one simple, I don't like the phrase random act of kindness, but just simple acts of kindness and love when you can do it. I have a whole host of options of very simple, either virtually no cost to a little more cost involved ways to spread out some simple joy in the world. No matter how old you are, just do it. Just go out and do kindness. That was in the show called Sky for All, a previous show I had. And I used one of those options I talk about in Sky for All, and I did that yesterday. So I had a delivery come to the house, and I grabbed one of these little organza bags that had little stars and moons, looked very kind of magical and fun. And I threw in a couple of raw crystals and a little, silk sunflower in there. And something said, this is what you need to give to this delivery person. So I grabbed it and did. Now, the delivery person nearly broke down crying and said, you don't even know how much I needed this today. You just don't even know. And, as I gave the crystals, a little bag of crystals, I said, these come with tremendous blessings and love to you and to all who you know. And the person just really couldn't get over it and just said, as they were walking away down the walkway away from the house, said, you just don't even understand how much this means to me. And we each shared a little moment where we even each got goosebumps because the God presence just filled up the space. I was on the outside, of the door, but just filled up the whole air of the outside. And so this is how important it is, just a kind word, even if you just go a little out of your way and say, oh, wow, the color you're wearing on your nail polish, or that's, you have a beautiful smile, whatever. Really, these are the things that matter right now. And that's all I'll say. I think I've said enough. All right, let's get into the sky observations. So whether you're new or returning to this channel, thank you for being here as always. I really appreciate it, and hope you're having a gorgeous now wherever you are in the world. And if it doesn't seem to be going great, I hope you can make it great. Dig within and, convert it, make it that it is great in your mind, body, and soul, and go about your business undeterred or unbullied or unharassed by anything. Stay strong in your power and know that that's all that matters. So if you need to, and if you're having just a wonderful day without all that, great. All right, so now just for anybody who's new, I'm going to just touch on why I'm doing this here and what I'm doing. If you're returning, you may want to skip this bit for a few minutes. So if you're new, I'm just simply going around wherever I am, whether I'm living or traveling, going about my daily or nightly business, and I'm really observing the skies. This only takes about 2 to 5 minutes a day, and I invite all of you to do this if you're not doing it already. And just as you're coming to and fro, just look up. Look 360 degrees around you in the sky. Notice what's going on. There are a lot of anomalies, very strange and odd things happening these days, especially ramping up increasingly, at least to my awareness, in a heightened level, so since 2018. But there have been really bizarre changes going on in our sky since about 2010, 2012 that are really noticeable, probably even prior. Um, Anyhow, I just, take pictures with a very old Android camera phone, and then I run them through enhancements, and that just simply means that I've edited attributes of the photo, such as brightness, color saturation, contrast, things of that nature. I'll give you a quick peek like that. And what it does is it extra highlights things, it draws things out in the photos that I can either see with my naked eye or sense is there, but it just brings it out in a much better way with the enhancements. And that's because with the camera phone, it has a vaster range of photo and light sensitivity, and then we put the tools into it, and it even ramps that up, amplifies that even more, so we can really see what's going on. Because lately, over the years, over the decades rather, there's been a lot of particulate and stuff, I'll just say, sprayed into our skies, creating a thick veil of that obscures what's really going on in our sky. You can even tell because our sky was always a rich blue, and now it becomes like a very pale blue or even white at times. And so there's a lot going on, and I'm not going to cover that now. Again, I'm kind of like the slower end of things recording this today, so I'm not going to be quick and sharp. So I'll leave it to you to look at some of my other previous shows to see what I'm talking about, and also, as always, I invite you to look at other Earth and Sky watching channels on YouTube, especially because people like you or me going out and observing the sky are documenting what they're finding all around the world, and it's fascinating. It's great to cross-reference these things and then develop, for your own what you think is going on. So I'm going to keep going. I do say cloud in quotes down here in the little title, strange cloud activity in quotes, because I'm talking about more often not cloaking craft. And when I say cloaking craft, the cloaking material, my go-to reference is just going to be plasma. I'm just referring to something heavier and denser than water vapor that hangs around in the air forever, can cling to objects and obscure them very well. Or when I'm talking about the cloaking craft itself, I'm talking about a 3D object that you could theoretically walk up to or fly up to, knock on, touch it. It's very tactile. Or it could be something very interdimensional, very ephemeral, that kind of phases in and out mysteriously. Or it could be a 3D object that's phasing in and out of state when we catch it. Or it could be just some supernatural phenomenon that we just have no idea what it is with our limited understanding here on Earth right now. So anyway, that's all I'll say for now. I'm going to move along. So this just caught my attention. I'm sorry, I didn't update all the directionals also. That probably happened on this show. But again, I feel it's important for some reason for me to just get this documentation out and not worry about some of these things. But anyway, I'll flag them when I see them. So this is looking west and toward the sunset. And just notice this strange elliptical shape moving on one angle. This is moving on another, and this is doing yet something else with disturbance around it at sea. So that's why it caught my attention. There seems to be also darker objects looming here in the background. So I'm just flagging this as very unusual, and note the color signatures. We've got more red down here, going up to more white and bright up here for some reason. It's really not a natural flow of light physics, so I do suspect strange activities going on in here. Do look at my description box below for when I mention reds and pinks in the sky, red pinks in the sky, what that could be. I throw out a few possibilities. You may have others in your mind. You may come up with even more, and that's great. But B.1, I kind of see a standalone object here. See a blur out right above it, so that could be some type of like a orb-like thing or force field that's coming or going into our frame of view here. Strange, again, just strange movement all over the place, and a burst of energy up here where we see this thing shooting off in this direction, this little object. So I think that's a little craft. And when I say craft, it could be, something that is piloted either remotely or with a being in there. Or it could be just like some kind of sensor or instruments that are propelled out to take readings of the atmosphere or do reconnaissance, scouting, who knows. I surely don't. But I'm just throwing out some possibilities of what I'm seeing, what I'm sensing and feeling with these images. So let's move along and look at some other examples. Also, as I say, there's a whole lot going on in any given photo. I just drop in little highlight letters to help me keep focused and maybe not miss some main things. But it's very possible I miss stuff. So if there's something that's like the elephant in the room, you're like, why didn't you talk about that? It's not intentional if I skip over it by any means. It just means that I'm, looking elsewhere. I got caught up in other detail and forgot to mention it. So if there's something that you see and you'd like me to cover it, just let me know in the in the comment section below, and I'll be happy to cover it in a future show. Okay, I thought we left that scene. Now we're going to zoom in a little bit more, and here you can see the object I'm looking at B with something else happening right above it. And then we've got, again, just some strange, I think that are objects with movement and bursts of energy. We've got a chemtrailer working its way in there in the scene as well, a few of them. And then here we see at C.1, that's a weird little object. Now it looks even curved. So it's very interesting. You know, it's got a flat top or bottom, who knows what that is, and like a dome or circle below it. So I'm calling that a craft. Something that also looks like it has dimension here shooting off this way. This could also be all part of a bigger craft cloaking in here. See what you think, though. It's fascinating. I do see little machine parts also popping out over here along this ridge and this line. I do invite you, as always, to, if you're fortunate enough to have a bigger screen like a laptop, and at the same time look at the show on a smaller handheld device, you're going to see, you know, and if you put your view up to 1 and then look down and toggle back and forth with your vision up and down at the 2 different scales, you're going to see totally different things when you look at it on a smaller screen versus a bigger screen. So I do narrate all of this on a laptop. I don't run it with a smaller screen at the same time. I should. I'm not there yet. Just to really pick out everything. So you're just getting my narration on what I see with the bigger screen. Obviously, there's going to be a whole nother level of detail and things that jump out on the smaller screen. But I leave that to you to have fun with and play with and see what else you can find in any of these scenes. Okay, now the original is going to be typically on the left and the enhancement on the right when we have this kind of format side by side. And this was just looking really bizarre to the southwest. We have a clear chemtrail zipping across here, which always kind of gives you an indicator something is trying to be hidden or distracted from when they do this. So looking over to the right, we'll just spend time on the enhanced version. I see this weird concentric circles, like ripple effect coming out of this fuzz out over here. So something is generating power right over here. And I'm saying that's a cloaking craft. And then again, we get this weird, look at this movement. And then this thing is coming straight level. Well, this has like a curve, you know, like a spherical shape or a semicircular shape moving on in here with different energies bursting off this way and this way. That tells you there's something happening here local. And that there's a ton of cloak and craft in this assembly. See what you think is happening in there. All right, then we're going to look to the north, and this is in the morning. And it, you know, it's very, you know, I could see this activity, but I knew, you know, we just got to definitely pull more out in an enhanced version. And my normal enhancement, I just start off in baby steps and lighten it a little bit in contrast. And this one just called for me to go in extreme enhancement. And look what pops up. This looks like a craft to me, like this is the front and a wing and like maybe a tail toward the back. And then we get a standalone spherical object here. So I'm going to call that some type of independent craft body as well. We got a weird motion pushing up to B1. So again, if you have a normal clouds moving along, you're not going to have all of a sudden something going straight up and down. That does not happen, especially not this low in the sky. This is extremely low in the sky. And as I've said on every show pretty much, I've been on this planet for many decades. I've been in this area for many decades and traveled around the world, lived around the world, have been always keenly aware of the skies, the clouds, the patterns, the movement, everything happening in the sky. And, you know, we used to always just have in this area, which is subtropical to tropical climate, just, you know, if anything, big puffy cumulus clouds that would just steadily move across with a breeze. It looks nothing like this. So this is all very new, very different. Let's just keep moving. Okay, here's another strange thing happening to the north. So this really caught my attention here. It looked like a ring around something else. And with enhancement, see, we really can pull that out. And it looks like there's another one over here. So to me, this is some type of spherical object, ellipsoid, you know, with symmetry happening here. And whenever I talk about, especially when we have, hold on one second. Okay, I'm back. Especially when we have geometrical objects, we're going to see a lot of those in other shows more than others, especially where I have like a symmetrical equilateral triangle, sometimes hexagons, octagons, all kinds of crazy shapes, trapezoids. We're not going to have rigid geometry like that in cloud systems. There's just no way. So whenever I see, you know, it just trips my little lookout here meter. You know, when we have something symmetrical, that's really usually a dead giveaway that we've got intelligent design at play. And in this case, it's no different. I'm feeling that strongly with this thing. On top of it, we have straight edges here, like a rhombus, and, you know, straight lines here. And then we have something happening behind it, you know, pushing up out beyond. So I'm going to say we've got at least one craft, if not multiples, going on all over the place here. And what's this fragment thing doing at C.1? It's very rigid. It's got some structure and strength to it, doing its complete own thing. This whole thing is very loosely held together. really kind of fallen apart. There's no natural cloud that looks like that. So I'm calling that artificial cloud, meaning cloak over multiple cloaking craft, multiple craft. Now this scene is weird too. There's no way in this environment, in this part of the world, subtropical, tropical weather again, with zero wind, that you're going to get these formations, the smooth tops and whatever. That happens maybe on colder, drier, high altitude, maybe. But look at these. These are not normal clouds, and their positions and how they're juxtaposed to each other. No. And then on top of it, you get something pushing up this way with a totally different cloud formation in its general territory. So you can't have these two totally different things, coexisting here in a natural cloud system. And then on top of it, we've got a triangular form at A, something weird happening beyond it, and then this shape too. You can't even call these natural clouds. They're not smoke. This thing looks like it's zooming down in here. So we're definitely going to look at it with enhancement, and you see what I mean. B.1, what the heck? This thing is just zooming down in its own angle, so that's definitely some type of craft or intelligence happening in the sky. And then this is going off on its own way. And then we have like a little star-shaped thing popping up out of here with bright white points. And those bright white points tell me there's something either reflecting and they've got shadow below them, or material reflecting, like hard material, or there's just some type of light source flaring up in there or something. Sometimes I see crystalline structures in the form of triangles, so it just means there is some type of cloaking craft activity going on in there, or cloaking objects. These little white points flare up all over the place, so that tells me this is heavy with cloaking craft activity. Also over here, it's violet in this case, and with a little white tip at it. It looks like a pipe popping out. And then over here, under the D.1, it looks like something circular. So I don't know if that's like a shield attached to something, or pipe, or exhaust, or something. And we're just glimpsing that part of the machine part popping out of there. That's what I see anyway. Then we get this. So over here where my cursor is, a completely different color. So that tells me there's a completely different material going on in here. All of it spells out cloaking craft activity, or at least cloaking objects. Oh, sorry, one more thing. Also, we got to look at the color ranges. It's all over the map on this one, even though where the light was coming from and light physics, everything should be the same color, or nearly. But how are we getting these violets, these extreme dark indigos and whatever, and then the rest we're getting flare-ups of reds and warm tones? That also just wouldn't happen in a natural situation. So now we're just looking at another view. We're zooming in. A really weird thing starts to be happening at F below. And look at this. What's going on here? There's like an orb thing, or like this thing is, what's going on? That's supposed to be a natural cloud, but it's got a hard, straight edge. This looks like a pipe sticking out. And then something strange is happening between these two things. Or this is happening beyond, and this is, part of this cloud emerging out of it. Regardless, I'm going to say these are cloaking objects all over the place. In here, this thing, and this, and all of this. All right, we're going to zoom in on that F.2 for now. Do look at other things. You're going to find other things in this photo for sure. But again, we've got this weird thing. It's like a bead almost. I want to say it's not even like a sphere. It's like a flattened bead maybe. One of those round ones that's like a cut-off cylinder is, I guess, what I want to say. But look at, we have these two straight arms coming in here. Just this whole little detail, so strange. And then look at G. Again, straight as can be. We've got a right angle here and here. So that's the end of a rectangular form, or the end of a pipe that we're just seeing flat on the, straight on elevation. And then we get totally different color signature under this palm frond. Brighter orange, and, what the heck? There are a lot of weird things going on in this scene. Then we're going to zoom in one more time. And now with extreme enhancement, not only do we see how straight this is, see that pipe, that rectangular form, weirdness going on over here too. Look how dark that is. That looks like the end of a flattened tubular form as well. But look at this. We've got this brighter white part that's coming straight across in the midst of all of this. Just really strange. I hope we can agree on that. All right, now we're going to zoom in on that little star-like shape and look at what's going on in this area again with B. Look at these parallel, near parallel prongs or arms coming down on this again. Look at this symmetry here. It's almost like a pseudo diamond shape, and perfect at that. And then we've got this weird morphing star-like thing. Again, we're just taking another look at it. I took the color out so it wouldn't distract so much. And we get this lighter area. We start to see a little bit of structure, parallel, like pipe-like forms in here. See what you can find. It's pretty intriguing. All right, then this was just strange because cumulus clouds usually don't just take off and start to go like in this like elongated direction, but yet I've been seeing that a lot these years. There's a lot going on in here, but let's look at it with some enhancement. This whiter part, I'll go back one, really grab my eye again when we see these little anomalies popping out. When you see white in the background is like monochrome, whether it's a bright color or gray, that always grabs my attention. It means there's some little craft or sensor departing out of this mess, or it's a machine part sticking out or something of that nature typically. Then we look at B, we've got a straight line. This looks like a perfect, symmetrical flattened, part of a flattened triangular form with weird things happening within it. We get just some oddities all over the place. This weird shadow, what's going on there? We're going to look at this, I think, a little bit. I think in the next few slides, a part of that comes back up. Anyway, now we're going to look to the east. Hold on one second. Okay, I'm back, and then we get this scene. Again, this is not a natural cloud form. It's not a typical cumulus cloud. It's very loosely put together, kind of like has this kind of disintegrated quality, like it's falling apart, no integrity to it. And we get weird, like truncated, truncated triangular form in here. Just a lot of strange stuff, and this hard line doing this at the bottom with this weird thing coming far too low in the sky. This definitely merited enhancement. And here's what we got. So D.1, that's no natural cloud. E.1, hard line here and an obtuse pure angle. That's no regular cloud. So we have a little bit of that darker bit back in here. So I'm going to say there's absolutely a cloak and craft in here. I'm not sure what this is doing. And then we've got brighter white points again over here with a totally different color signature. So it's almost like maybe this is some type of plasma cloaking and we see lights behind it, or these are machine parts popping out. I don't know, but we get little white bits all over the place with dimension to them. And so I'm going to say, again, we've got cloak and craft situation. And do look also at the color. So this is sunset looking dead east. And there was no color like this opposing it, diametrically opposed to the west. So I also have in the description box below how in many cases this red-pink signature is being generated locally by whatever's hiding in here. And that's what I'm going to go with on this scene. Okay, now this is looking east. And I was looking above a rooftop, and it just actually kind of looked like a mermaid to me. If this is like the face and the hair in the back with her, this would be her arm, her elbow, and her arm kind of curled back on her hip, and her tail. That's just kind of what I saw for fun cloud play, but it was a weird cloud form that it's, again, so insanely low in the sky, extremely local, and just kind of making this weird form, like a tower-like form, not like a regular cumulus form. And there are little brighter white points, strewn about here at sea. So we're going to look at it with enhancement. You see these brighter white points and one flaring up over here. And how do we get such different color signature with this thing within, and then this is like going into the violets. Again, and we got violet up here, so that's based on where the lighting is. That couldn't really happen. That's all I'll say about that. But anyway, regardless, it's a fun little form color. Okay, then we're going to look here at, again, a weird standalone cluster, seemingly. It has, I think this is part of what we were looking at before. And then we've got weird, flattened things down here. This, again, is just no way, shape, or form a natural cloud form. So we're going to zoom in, try to see if we can see anything more. I don't get it too much more other than this, to me, is really looking like a standalone cloak and craft. We've got the lighter, bright white strewn about with heavy shadow, telling me that that's got structure and dimension to it. We get the little white points popping up in here, so I think something either came and left or it's in a state of phasing in and out. But look at this weird thing right in the middle, the color on that, versus everything around it. This is not a hole, and we're looking through this whole thing. That's like an object sitting on the front with some weird haze around it. See what you think is going on in that one. I'm kind of stumped on this overall scene. Okay, then we're going to look southwest, and this is what I'm talking about. This is kind of that little mermaid effect we were looking at earlier. These things are starting to rise up like straight into columns, like at least at A and B. I don't know what C is doing. Just really bizarre. These skinny, long things, That is not a cumulus cloud in South Florida. Never, till recently. And so now we look at the color signatures just to see what's going on a little bit more. Again, this is looking now southwest at sunset, so the east is to the right. I'm sorry, the north is to the right, by the way. So we're looking west, southwest. So if the north is to the right, and then we've got the south heading to the east over to the left, how are we getting such a rich, warm, golden glow over to the east when we're talking this is a sunset? That should be over to the right. So again, there's a lot of anomalies, very strange things happening in our skies today. So we're going to zoom in and look a little bit more at this overall scene. I think we're going to get to these on the right later. What really grabbed my interest was what the heck is going on at 8.2. I see an object here, a straight line here, so triangular form. Something really weird. Look at the totally different color signatures, an absolute structure. Straight line, diamond form here, stick-like form here, shield-like form here. This thing is freaking fascinating. Let's look at it zoomed in. So I'm going to take each part and break it down, A, B, and C toward the bottom. This thing is just totally fascinating. So I'll leave this to you to examine a little bit more. But look at this thing. We have like an egg shape with these two little like ears or antennas, symmetrical, perfect. Looks like a metallic structure with an indentation in it. I already covered the triangular form here. And then what the heck are we looking at with B? It looks like a ring, almost like a diamond on a silver ring moving around. But I have a feeling this is all connected from this C shield shaped thing all the way up here. But I'm going to still just break it down individually. So if you're on a laptop screen, you might have to squint your eyes a bit to see this because it's a little bit mappy. If you're on a smaller handheld device, you probably already see it fine. But look at this. These are symmetrical. They look like little ears on this thing. This is a very different character than anything else, and we cannot call that cloud, period. Then we go to B. What is this? We've got a straight line, making this diamond shape. Brighter thing here, that ring-like band going down. Something else coming here, looks like something flying off here. What the heck is this? What is it? And then we go down to that shield-like thing. Something also a structure. 1, 2, parallel. And then this is a ring-like form, an outline. So I'm going to say this is a craft, and we're just seeing bits and pieces of its machine parts popping out. Totally fascinating. All right, then we're going to look at the scene to the southeast. Everything just seemed haphazard and chaotic, doing its own thing. And again, that's no natural cloud activity. D is starting to look like a pure triangular form. So, and all on top of it, it's choppy and fuzzy and, what do I say? Choppy and fuzzy, even to the naked eye. We go back, everything's kind of choppy and weird. And I call that the staccato cloud or staccato cloud effect. When everything's choppy and fuzzy, my theory is that there is there could be a huge cloaking craft up here, or, smaller ones beyond that we can't see with all the heavy particulate and veiled stuff. That's generating electromagnetic wave activity or other types of frequencies in the atmosphere, generating local atmospheric disturbance. So that's a great way to cloak a whole bunch of things at once. Or it could just be a side effect of whatever's generating the power in these things, and it does that, or a combination of both, which I think is the case. But what caught my attention is that we see smooth, straight lines, these grooves here, and strange shapes, standalone shapes here. We get a whole variety of color signatures, which is also my little indicator that there is something generating, energy in here locally. But let's look further. I think, we zoom in a little bit. Here's that groove I was noticing. Standalone object at E. Now I'm just taking the normal color out of it so we can look at it with our eye-brain coordination a slightly different way. But we've got, look at this piece. Straight lines here, that's not natural cloud. And over here too, we can see a distinct form with faceted edges, almost like a faceted crystal. Straight lines, so that's a standalone object. We can go on with this one. And I don't know what's going on up in here. Maybe you have some good ideas. Let me know if you feel like it in the comment section below. If not, no big deal. All right, so now we're going to go back to our weird column-like things. They start morphing and changing as what typically happens. If you'll notice, A.3, that little cluster is on the cover slide. And then we get this weird thing at D. So how do you have this kind of cloud activity and then bam, this standalone thing right in the same altitude? Nothing crazy has changed, and yet that whole thing is totally different without there being some type of artificial activity in the sky. So here I'm just like, enhancing it just to get at the color signatures, look at all the overall scene a little bit better. And then we're going to zoom in on this thing. Look how weird this is. Again, we've got, looks like that's where that rounded, thing with the little ears was. That was the triangle up here, but it's morphing and changing. Now we have a pure triangular form over here with little things that look like little craft to me, more triangular shapes. I'm not sure what this is, but that was that thing that we were looking at with the shield at the bottom. And now we get a little bit better look at maybe of what it was. There's an indentation here like a crater, or just an indentation in metal or something. And then what the heck is this thing? Was this the shield that was down here that's popped off, or is this yet another shape on its own? But whatever the case, look how clear this shape is. It's like somebody cut off a tube, and it's got like a piece of metal hanging out longer or something. But look at that thing, it's very clear. We get a burst of radiant energy around it. Things are going off like in a radial pattern. This thing is really, really mystifying the more we look at it. I'm going to zoom in a little so you can see what the heck is going on here. Not only is it a distinct shape, but now we got this blast, this aura around it. It's pretty intense. And after, this is what, the 137th show, I have not seen an effect like this in any of the shows. Then we look up here where the question marks are, and this looks almost like rippled metal, like fluid metal to me. Again, I have no idea what this thing is down here. As I always say, I would love to see all this smoke and mirrors and particulate blown away so we can really see what's going on in any of these scenes. Then we're going to look here. Again, these are some of those morphing columns. We're going to jump over to the other side of the ones we didn't take a look at. Something really strange is happening over here and here. The color signatures are all very different. So we look at it with some enhancement. We see a very clear shape. We've got a straight line vertical coming down with angles parallel. That is rigid geometry. That is tech or some type of UFO or whatever craft in the sky. And down here we're going to get real structure. We're going to see that up close in a minute. We've got a point out here, a sharp like a end of a triangle. So again, something unnatural is happening here as well. We zoom in to get a little better look. I'll leave this side up to you guys and girls. But here, look at C.7, rigid geometry happening in here. Look at these lines with like a crossbar and points projecting out. We're going to look at it again with slightly different enhancement and coloration just to kind of better get at what's going on. This is structure, friends. So is this. We've got something going on there. I'm calling it cloak and craft, cloaking objects. Now we're going to hop over to our little friend D2, which I said, how do we have this, where we had all those other strange forms and they're all on the same altitude, same everything. That's like an impossibility. So we look at it with some enhancement, and this looks like a craft or object to me, zooming out of this thing. So I'm going to call this some strange cloak and craft that we're seeing the edge of it, and something's launching from it. That's what I see. What do you see? All right, now side by sides again. Look, we'll just spend our time on the right. Something weird with structure and texture, like a pebbled surface, is going on all over the place in here. We have a triangular form here. That's enough. Right here, look at this where my cursor is. That's a straight line and an object in there. So we've got cloak and craft. Then we're going to zoom in with some different coloration, again, just to retrain our eye and brain to maybe see other things. And wow, does this thing jump out. And hang on one second. Okay, I'm back. I didn't label this because it's only jumping out to me now. Look how sharp these edges are. That's a piece of something that's not normal in the sky. That's tech. Anyway, you slice it. And then look how strange these things start to pop up. So I don't have many more answers other than, look at this straight line. I know this is tech, and that's not a natural cloud. No way. All right, now, this just caught my attention because, again, we've got, look at this. It's like coming up out of nowhere and insanely low in the sky. And then we have a totally different smoky color. And this is looking east toward sunset. And then this is kind of falling apart. Looks like something's coming or going in here to me. So we definitely need to look at this with enhancement. I'm calling C.1 an object because it's got a straight line, very triangular in form. This looks like it's zoomed out of here, which is, I'm suspecting, also cloak and craft. Also appears. It's got to be something cloaking. See what you find in that scene. This one, just bizarre, looking east-northeast at sunset, had extraordinary pink color going on, very heavily veiled in the background. And then this just looked weird. Again, we don't have something just breaking off of a loosely disintegrated artificial cloud like this. You know, this is straight. This is coming down in a weird way. No natural clouds do this. We have a little bright white point here. Oh, sometimes I have stray leftovers when I just copy and paste slides, so X out. Don't worry about that letter there. I'm just looking at A and B on this one. So this is a standalone shape. It looks like it has structure and intelligent design to it. Even to the point of this thing, it looks like a little antenna or something, like a forked thing with a stick. There's a little bright point here. Again, tells me there's some type of structure going on in there. And I don't know what's going on down at this point. I couldn't get to that. And look at the extraordinary ranges of red and pinks happening beyond there. I do think that is a bigger planetary body, just outside of all of this veiling, in the Earth's neighborhood, so to speak. Again, see my description box below for thoughts on that. And then now we're going to look to the east-northeast still. Actually, sorry, this is more just straight up east. But we get weird shapes, again, triangular in form, juxtaposed to this straighter one, while we have a triangular shape going on here. Just the whole thing is weird. And so we see that these are even diving on one angle, while that's like on another angle, sitting there. And this is doing its own thing. So, you know, see what you want to see in there. I see cloak and craft all over the place. All right, now, this is one more scene looking, I think this is the last one. This is actually, sorry, I did not update this. This is looking north, straight up north. And so we're just going to look at A, B, and C because I started to see shapes in here, especially down here, straight lines. And we'll see them better with enhancement. So you can see what I mean. At C.1, that's a triangular form. D.1, we have a triangular form again. Something weird happening over here. Strange things because they have different color ranges at A and B. Looks like some other activity happening back in there, but it's a little too far back to see what's going on, a little too veiled. Looks like this is a standalone cloaking object as well. And in here, so see what you see in this scene. All right, well, this is the photo of the day and the close of the show. Thanks for looking at some interesting things here a while. I'm going to make a cheesy, cringy, cringeworthy little statement. Just go out and spread the light in the world, you know, cheer people up just with your smile, with a hug. Like I like to say, there's a lot of, what I want to say, overall spellcasting, dark spellcasting on the world right now. Inverting everything, trying to make people believe that healthy people are sick. That's all I'm going to say about that. I think if you've watched my show, you know where I stand on everything. Breathe freely. Don't keep your body temple nice and pure. And for goodness sakes, don't put anything in it or on it that you don't want to. You know, it's your body, your freedom. But anyway, light up the world, even if it's with the smile, even if you just envision the world lighter and happier. With beautiful light coming up out of the earth and spreading out into the cosmos. Smile at somebody, give them a nice little compliment, and you will see a whole change. The world just lights up right in front of your eyes. Anyway, that's it for now. I wish everyone a beautiful right now. Tremendous love and peace as always. Have a gorgeous week ahead too. Lavender Sky Panther. Bye.